So we have some breaking news this week that I wanted to get out as soon as possible for those that need it. So this week, there was a huge notification from Bench Accounting, which is an outsourced bookkeeping system. And it's a very, very popular one with thousands and thousands of different customers on it. And they abruptly announced on December 27th that they were shutting down. They shut down their website, everything completely closed immediately with seemingly no warning, leaving a lot of customers in a lurch just a few days before year end. Now, some things have changed and we've had some new developments. Now, all of a sudden, at the early part of this current week, employer.com said that they are now going to actually be acquiring bench.co and that they will be migrating those users over, but we still don't have any clue what that's going to look like. And my guess is they don't either. Now, the good news on that is it does look like you can now actually log in to your Bench account. So for a little while, you were completely locked out. There was no way to get access to your data, but now you should hopefully still be able to log in when this video is coming out. So the very first thing that I want you to do after watching this video, if you were and are a Bench customer, is to go in and back up all of your data. Every last bit of it. I'm going to talk at the end of this video exactly what you should make sure you download, but ultimately, the more you can back up, the better. So what exactly happened here? Your guess is as good as mine. Bench was an accounting platform that was backed by venture capital. It's been around for about 13 years, so they're not new on the block. However, my guess is they were probably not overly profitable, and there are lots and lots of reports out there of negative customer service reviews, so there were a lot of unhappy people as well. Now, from some of the posts that I saw on Reddit, such as this one from someone who says that they are a former employee, this completely caught them off guard too. Now, they did do layoffs, it sounds like just a couple of weeks ago, and then all of a sudden everybody goes on vacation for the holidays and they get this notification at the same time. So not only does my heart go out to those of you who are Bench users, but also those of you who are employees and probably wondering what exactly happens now. So there are lots of things we don't know yet. So for example, is employer.com going to be able to handle all of this influx? Are they going to keep the same employees who are going to be doing the work? Are they going to keep the same system? My guess is yes. My guess is that they have acquired the systems and probably whatever employees they can convince to stay. But again, it seems like this is probably going to be something that is going to be a little bit bumpy for a while. So if you're trying to decide exactly what to do now, again, my best advice is to back up everything because who the heck knows what's going to happen. But I also think it might be time to explore other options. Now, when I looked into employer.com, I found a post by their CEO on LinkedIn that basically said they just acquired that domain about a month ago for $450,000. So it looks like they were planning to do some payroll type activity. It's the same CEO as recruiter.com, but they must have seen an opportunity with the closing of Bench and decided to swoop in and get into the bookkeeping game. Now, as someone who knows that bookkeeping's not as easy as you might think, especially to make sure that you're running a profitable business with good margins in it, this could be a little bit of a transition period. So if you want to make sure that this doesn't affect you, this doesn't put you in a bad spot come tax season, it might be a good idea to go shopping for someone else to clean up your 2024 books. Now, personally, this right here, this entire situation is why I am such a big fan of working with a human, another small business, not a big venture capitalist type of business that really is trying to make bookkeeping as efficient, i.e. impersonal, as it could possibly be, right? You want to work with a human who can understand your business, who you can talk to about your business, and who's going to actually be able to learn, right? That's really such a key thing, is somebody being able to learn about your business and understand how it works and adapt, and to really have a partner in your company when it comes to your finances. And along with maybe looking for a new bookkeeper, you might also want to look for a new system. So Bench was using its own proprietary system. So if you are going to maybe be using a different bookkeeper, you're probably going to have to change systems. And a really good time to change systems for the new year would be the beginning of 2025. So January 1 or in January is a really good time to switch over because you can essentially close out the year in one system and start the new year in a new system without having to move everything over. So if you want to know what accounting systems I recommend and see a flowchart of which one might be best for you between something like QuickBooks Online, Xero, or FreshBooks, go to jamietrull.com/accounting. At that link, you're also going to see my special deals. Definitely do not sign up for any of these without going to my link because you can get better discounts and free trials and things like that just by using my link. Now, if you're in a situation where you have maybe already paid, maybe you prepaid for services that have not yet been rendered by Bench, what exactly can you do, right? And you might also be wondering, how could they just shut it down in the middle of the night anyway? How is that even something they could legally do? Well, I wanted to see if they could legally do that. So I went to go look on their website to try to find their terms. So their website was shut down. It's now back up and running, but it's not fully functional as of the day I'm recording this, which is the 31st of December. So here I am on the current Bench website, and I love how instead of there just being a oops, Bench no longer exists warning anymore, it now has an exciting news. Bench has been acquired by employer.com. Yay! How exciting, everyone. You know how we told you that we were just disappearing in the middle of the night? We were just kidding. I love the trusted by 35,000 plus American small business owners. Something tells me that number is slightly less as of today. And so what I tried to do was see exactly what I could. If you go to learn more, it's got some information about it. Again, for 3 days, they basically didn't exist. And then all of a sudden now they're having this very exciting, totally planned for acquisition. And you can kind of see exactly what they're saying. They're saying that there's going to be continuity of service. Okay. Platform stability. Yep, sure. And data security. Great. So anyway, I love the why employers should trust employer.com has a proven track record of delivering scalable, reliable, innovative solutions. Well, employer.com actually didn't exist specifically until a month ago, but since then it's got a great track record. So then the next thing that I wanted to check out was, I thought it was interesting that they are actually, you can sign up for Bench right now. I don't know why you would, please. Those of you who are watching this, I probably don't advise it right now, and I'll show you one of the reasons why. So you can go ahead and sign up and get started today. But I wanted to see exactly what the terms were. What are Bench's terms right now? And of course, when I click on it, everything is up and running. You can sign up for Bench, but you can't find their terms of use anywhere, or for what it's worth, their privacy policy. So again, those are things, I know sometimes we don't always click on those things, but I will tell you, you should always click on them just to make sure that they exist. Now, did I stop there? No, I didn't. I didn't say, you know what, I can't find their terms. Oh well. I wanted to find what the terms actually were. And so I went and used the most amazing tool, if you guys have never used it, the Wayback Machine. And you can Google it, and it allows you to go back and find previous instances of various different websites if they've been saved by someone, okay? So the great thing about the Wayback Machine is I was able to go back to earlier in December and go to Bench's terms page, which is just bench.com/terms, and see their terms that they had in place for 2024. And yes, I have been told that I missed my calling as a private investigator. Maybe that'll be my next career. So here are the Bench accounting terms of service that were last updated February 9th of 2024. That was their last update. And I wanted to really see what, did they say? Was there anything in here about their services or continuity or backups or anything like that that we needed to know about? So the first thing I scrolled down to was this term and termination section to see what it says. And of course, under termination, there are some rules that you would have to follow as the customer to terminate your account. Specifically, you would have to provide written notice. I believe that was within 15 days, it said earlier, and that you weren't going to renew. And then you would be responsible for any fees during the remainder of the term. Now, it just says here, Bench may terminate this agreement by notice to customer through the account, by email to the contact information provided in the application, or by other electronic notice to other contact information provided by customer to Bench. Okay, so basically what this says to me is they can just shut down. You need to provide them notice if you're going to stop, but they can just shut down if they want to, and sorry. And notice that it does say, hey, if we terminate, you still have to pay us, but it says nothing about if we terminate that we have to pay you back for services not rendered. So I wanted to see exactly what kinds of back pay do they have in here that you could potentially get as a Bench customer. So now when we get into the fees section, that's where we say the access to services may require customer to pay fees, blah, blah, blah. But here we have it. All fees are in US dollar and are non-refundable unless otherwise provided herein. Well, I did a search and I don't see anywhere where it is provided herein for any kind of refund. And that seems like it may also be the case, or it was intended to be the case, even if they have not provided the services that you paid for. So then I came down to the limits of liability section. I love when they have the huge capital letters sections. However, importantly, right, if you come down here, it says, in no event will Bench, its employees, officers, directors, blah, 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 be liable for damages arising out of or in any way connected to this agreement exceeding fees paid in retrospect of the services during the 3 months prior to the event giving rise to the liability. So in this case, had Bench completely shut down and said, and they didn't have employer.com stepping in to take on those customers, then in theory they could have said, okay, well, if nothing else, the max liability that we can have is anything you've paid in the last 3 months. Okay. So that was really interesting. And what I found that was really interesting to me is when they did this update, this was a February of 2024 terms update. This was one of the things that changed from the previous terms that they had. The previous terms did not have that 3-month limit. Something tells me that they either saw the writing on the wall or they were tired of people coming back and claiming long-term refunds, and they wanted to specifically write it in here that 3 months is all they are legally required to do. So now I came down to this section where it talks about what you do in case you're trying to seek relief, in case you think that they have breached the contract. And again, if customer has a dispute with Bench, Bench will first seek to resolve such a dispute through our support team. Well, that's great, except you shut down and there would not have been a support team to talk to, so that obviously would not have worked. But you do have to do binding arbitration in Wilmington, Delaware. So part of this agreement does have you waive your right to any kind of jury trial or litigation in court. You would have to do arbitration only. But what about your data? They have the obligation to provide you access to your data, don't they? Well, when I looked in here under security, you can see that this is another addition that they made this year into their terms, is that Bench is not responsible for performing and is not liable for any failure to perform any backups of customer data or any other data provided, transmitted, blah, blah, blah. It is the customer's responsibility to back up onto a customer device all customer data, including all data and records that the customer submits to Bench. So what this is saying to me is they're saying, well, you should have backed up your data. You should have a record of it. And therefore, if you don't get access to it, that's not our problem. This right here feels scary to me. Now, I am not a lawyer, admittedly, so I'm just reading this as a customer, really trying to understand what this is saying. But ultimately, what this says to me is that I have got to grab that data because I am not guaranteed that they are going to back it up at all, right? They essentially have no contractual obligation to keep my data and could essentially purge it at any point in time. And this brings me back to the point I made earlier, which is go download everything you possibly can out of that system. So at a minimum, here are the things that I want you to get. Your profit and loss reports this year and prior years. your trial balance for various periods. Your trial balance is just going to be as of a point in time. It's going to include balances, but that's going to be really helpful, especially when you go to transition. So getting a balance sheet or a trial balance as of December 31st is going to be critical. I also recommend getting your entire account details downloaded. Again, this can be for the current year, but also for prior years as well. If you've been using them for a while, download it all. The account details, they might be called transaction details or maybe general ledger, right? But there should be a way to download the actual activity that hit within the Bench platform. And that's really the key, is to make sure that you're keeping some level of transaction level support, because again, you can't necessarily count on the fact that if you get audited down the line, right, and Bench is shut down and who knows what's going to happen with employer.com, if you can't go in and pull those details to support your various transaction level things and what actually went through those different balances that you reported on your taxes, that could be a problem. So make sure to pull down as many details as you possibly can. And then if you're able to, I would also download your chart of accounts, which is basically going to be all the different accounts that you utilize regularly in your financial statements. Okay, so just pull down everything you can, go check out what different reports you can run them for various periods, run them for a full year, run them for quarters so that you have that. Anything you think you could need into the future, make sure to go run that information. And all of that's going to be helpful for when you move into a new system as well. You won't need all of it. Some of it's just to protect yourself and have a backup in case you're audited in the future. And some of it you will use if you move to a new accounting system. Again, if you're looking for a new accounting system like QuickBooks Online, Xero, FreshBooks, whatever you're looking for, go check out my deals at jamietrull.com/accounting. I really appreciate you supporting me through those deals. Plus, you get a better deal than you would if you bought it without me. Thanks for coming to this urgent episode on the YouTube channel. My heart is truly going out to anyone who is dealing with this. I think it is crazy that this would happen and that a company this big would just shut down essentially in the middle of the night. I'm glad it looks like there is some plan in place, but again, I think it's going to be a while to see if it's going to be something workable, and there's probably going to be some bumps along the way. So this is the time to do the backup planning. So get your backups, get everything backed up, and then do your backup planning as well. And if you are in the market for a new accounting system, go watch this video next, where I'm going to talk specifically about my review of various different accounting systems and who they are best for. I'll see you next time.